Hello everyone and welcome back to Unique Coins Value. Today we're diving into a fascinating piece of British numismatic history, the 1949 United Kingdom 2 shillings or florin. Whether you're a coin collector, a history enthusiast, or simply curious, this coin has quite a story to tell. So let's get started. This 1949 florin is part of a long tradition in British coinage. But why is it called a florin? Originally, the florin was introduced in 1849 as part of an attempt to decimalize the currency in the United Kingdom. A florin was worth 2 shillings, which is 1/10 of a pound. Decimalization, as we know, didn't fully happen until 1971, but the florin remained an essential part of British coinage for over a century. The 1949 2-shilling coin is particularly interesting. First, let's look at its design. On the obverse, we have a portrait of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 until his death in 1952. This portrait was designed by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget and is known for its clean and dignified depiction of the king. Paget's initials, HP, can be seen on the neck of the portrait. On the reverse side of the coin, we have a beautiful, intricate design. This was created by artist George Kruger Gray. It features a Tudor rose flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, symbolizing England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. This emblematic design captures the unity of the British Isles and is a classic example of Kruger Gray's work. Now, onto the specifications. This coin is made of cupronickel, which is an alloy of copper and nickel, and it weighs 11.31 grams. The diameter is about 28.5 millimeters, and it has a reeded edge. These coins stopped containing any silver in 1947, making them far more affordable today compared to the older, pre-1947 silver florins. So, how much is a 1949 florin worth today? Well, like all circulated coins, the value depends largely on its condition. For circulated 1949 florins, most coins in average circulated condition will fetch about PS1 to PS3. In higher grades, especially if the details are well preserved and the coin has a nice patina, it might reach up to PS5 to PS10 in value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1949 florin in near mint or uncirculated condition, it could be worth significantly more, upwards of PS20 or PS2AO or PS30, depending on the demand among collectors. To a collector, a coin in pristine condition is always worth more, but for a piece of history like this, it's not just about the monetary value, it's about holding a small part of British history. If you happen to come across one of these in your collection or at a flea market, it's definitely worth picking up. The 1949 florin. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a fascinating part of British coin history, the 1949 United Kingdom 2 shillings florin. This coin carries with it stories of Britain's economic and social shifts in the post-war era, and we'll explore why it remains significant even today. So let's travel back in time to uncover the history of the 1949 florin. To understand the 1949 florin, we first need to explore what the florin, or 2 shillings coin, represented in British currency. Introduced in 1849, the florin was Britain's first attempt to introduce decimal currency, making it worth exactly 1/10 of a pound. While decimalization wouldn't actually happen until 1971, the florin remained a key part of British currency through the Victorian era, both world wars, and the start of the modern period. By the time we reached 1949, the UK was in the process of economic recovery after World War II. Britain had endured immense social and financial hardship, and this coin captures some of the era's resilience. Interestingly, 1949 marked one of the last years before the UK's coinage was completely converted from silver to more economical metals. Just 2 years prior, in 1947, the UK stopped producing coins with silver content, switching to a more affordable copper-nickel alloy known as cupronickel. This decision was made to help ease the strain on Britain's war-ravaged economy. So, what was it like to carry a 1949 florin? The coin had a lot of buying power, representing 2 shillings. Although 2 shillings may not seem like much today, in 1949 it could buy a loaf of bread, a pint of milk, or even a small meal. This was a coin that saw constant circulation in the hands of British citizens. Everyone, from shopkeepers to school children, handled the florin daily. Now, let's take a closer look at the design. On the obverse side, we have the portrait of King George VI, who ruled from 1936 until his death in 1952. This portrait, crafted by renowned engraver Thomas Humphrey Paget, gives the king a stately and almost contemplative look, a reflection of Britain's resilience in a changing world. The reverse design, created by artist George Kruger Gray, features the classic Tudor rose at the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, symbolizing the unity of England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. The 1949 florins design is more than decorative, it tells a story. The symbols on the reverse represent unity among the British Isles, an idea that was especially important in a post-war Britain that was trying to rebuild and unite its people. This particular 1949 coin had an extensive journey in circulation. Between 1949 and 1971, it passed through countless hands used to pay for groceries, cinema tickets, and daily necessities. With time, the 1949 florin became a bit of a relic as newer coin designs began to emerge, and the old coinage started to be phased out. But it wasn't until decimalization in 1971 that the florin and indeed the entire pre-decimal system became obsolete. When decimalization finally arrived, the florin was withdrawn from circulation, marking the end of an era. However, interestingly enough, the 2 shilling coin was among the few pre-decimal coins that continued to circulate in Britain, now valued at 10 new pence, until it was eventually retired in 1993. Over its years in circulation, the 1949 florin had witnessed a Britain in transformation. From post-war recovery to the cultural shifts of the 1960s, it served as a constant in the everyday lives of Britons. While it may have been retired, the florin remains an iconic piece of British currency history. Today, finding a 1949 florin is like holding a piece of British history. Though it doesn't contain silver, it represents an era defined by resilience and change. For collectors, these coins have modest value, especially in circulated condition, typically around PS1 to PS3. However, higher-grade examples can fetch more, around PS10 to PS20, particularly for those in near-mint condition. So, why does the 1949 florin still matter today? It's a symbol of Britain's post-war journey, the everyday transactions that defined ordinary life, and the transition to a modern currency system. It's more than just metal, it's a story. Coin condition plays a significant role in determining the value and appeal of a coin like the 1949 United Kingdom 2 shillings florin. Here's a breakdown of common grading terms used in numismatics to assess coin condition, especially for circulated coins. This coin will show significant wear, especially on King George VI's portrait, with most details smoothed down from circulation. Value is usually at the lower end, around PS1. The details on King George VI and the floral symbols are visible but heavily worn. This grade may bring the coin value up slightly, depending on demand. You'll see wear on the highest points, but key details of the portrait and reverse design are visible. A fine condition coin might be valued a bit higher, closer to PS2-PS3. Details on the Tudor rose and thistle will be visible with some wear. It can fetch a bit more, potentially around PS4-PS5, especially if demand is higher. 1949 florin, in extremely fine condition, this would show clear details on King George VI's portrait, with minimal wear on the floral symbols. Value might go up to PS8, PS10 or more, depending on the collector's interest. Thanks for watching.